The year was 1964. The Beatles had just landed in America, muscle cars were erupting across the highways, and Pontiac was rewriting the rulebook with the Grand Prix. This wasn't just a car, it was a declaration that performance could wear a tuxedo and style could have muscle. If you were behind the wheel of a 1964 Grand Prix, you weren't just driving, you were commanding. Let's talk presence. Long, low, and wide. That Coke bottle silhouette, a fastback roofline that seemed to slice through the wind even at a standstill. Up front, a split grille that made no apologies, flanked by quad headlights staring down anyone foolish enough to challenge it. Chrome accents just where they needed to be. Elegant, never excessive. This wasn't a car that shouted, it spoke with confidence. Under that sculpted hood lived the heart of a warrior. The standard 389 cubic inch V8 wasn't just power, it was Pontiac's signature punch. 303 horsepower in its base form, but if you had a taste for thrill, you could spec the tri-power setup. 3 two-barrel carbs, pushing output to 348 horsepower. That setup could launch this full-size coupe like a rocket, with a soundtrack that rumbled like distant thunder. But raw speed wasn't the Grand Prix's only party trick. It was a gentleman's bruiser. It came with Pontiac's wide-track stance. Wheels pushed out to the corners for tight, stable handling. The ride was composed, the steering responsive, and for a big car, it could dance when you asked it to. Power brakes, power steering, and even a factory tachometer. In 1964, that wasn't just forward thinking. It was revolutionary. Step inside and you weren't sitting in a car. You were stepping into a personal lounge on wheels. Bucket seats up front, a center console that looked more like a command center, and a dashboard design that wrapped around the driver like the cockpit of a jet. Wood grain accents, brushed metal trim, a vacuum gauge nestled beside the speedometer. This was high fashion for horsepower addicts. It wasn't just about luxury or performance, it was about identity. The Grand Prix didn't copy trends, it made them. It was for the kind of driver who didn't want the obvious choice like a Cadillac or the rawness of a GTO. It was for those who wanted the best of both worlds, muscle with manners. Sales reflected that. In 1964, Pontiac sold nearly 64,000 Grand Prix. That's not just success, that's cultural impact. It helped Pontiac soar to become the #3 automaker in America, hot on the heels of Ford and Chevrolet. And why not? The Grand Prix was aspirational yet attainable, bold but refined. It was the bridge between a street credibility and showroom sophistication. And let's not forget the subtle touches. The 8-lug aluminum wheels with integrated brake drums, engineering genius and aesthetic perfection. The stacked tail lamps with a Pontiac arrow that made the car recognizable even from a distance. Details like that didn't just happen, they were carefully curated. Today, the 1964 Grand Prix is a time capsule, a preserved expression of an era when cars had soul, when styling wasn't dictated by wind tunnels and focus groups. It's a reminder of what happens when an automaker dares to dream and dares even more to build it. Because long after the engines cool and the roads fade, cars like the 1964 Pontiac Grand Prix don't just age, they evolve into legends. And legends, they never really die. They just wait for the next driver to take the wheel. So if you ever see one parked, take a second. Walk around it, feel the lines, listen for echoes of the past in the rumble of its idle. And if you're lucky enough to drive one, well, then you'll understand exactly why they called it the Grand Prix.